Het was waar je op voelde. Ja, je moet dingen voor.
I say, give me a signal. 1 minute, okay. Is this episode 8, Aisha? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everybody. This is Know Your Candidate. I'm your host.
And thank you very much for the opportunity to do this. As indeed, elections.
But just share with the listeners and viewers a bit about who Majid Mowzer is.
And when people talk about Dada, they talk about humility, and somehow that's rubbed off from. It's never about you as an individual. It's about the people, and it's the people is important to us. So yeah, I think, and you know, in those years, those schools were crucial, and fortunately, just on his return to our country, I managed to persuade sport in a non-normal sport in an abnormal society. And then obviously I moved to Ireland, and that's when I became the secretary with Comrade Dalla as the chair of the first Residents Association. And as you know, those years, politics was practiced openly. And so we formed this Residents Association, you know. I'm sure you remember KAC, you know,
Yes.
the civic associations. And so we use this vehicle for our activism and to fight for our liberation and so forth. And subsequently, obviously, very proudly, I've joined the African National Congress. I still believe today it is the only vehicle that can meet. Like maybe we've gone through a difficult period over the last few years, but I still believe it's the right vehicle, it's a correct vehicle. Ward 46 is quite a large ward in terms of size and area. It's of struggle in any event, you know, so a lot of people would remember all the tires were burning there in the 85s and so forth. Hiskraal then moves on to Rylands, Gatesville, Hatton Estate, Doringhoogte, where the Habiba Mosque is, that whole towards Surrey State, Greenhaven, Porterview. Eventually it lands up at Mannenberg, you know. Formerly is the Robert Sobukwe Drive, formerly known as Duinefontein Road. So you could see it's quite a large area, and it's very diverse. Diverse in the sense it's got working class people, middle class, you know. We got more women in our ward, by the way, 60% than males. And also it's got economic challenges across. I think what's important about this ward is we share a lot of common challenges, and then we also share a lot of specific challenges. And so for me to be 4 sections, and I've combined the trajectory of each section to its equitable basis. There's got to be fairness, equity on resources, equity on attention, and therefore.
Thank you very much, Comrade Majid, for those comprehension. I just wanted to do some follow-up. So clearly that you, Majid Mowzer, and the family will know that you are someone that actually is living that searching for a servant leader, a competent leader. But I think today, in today's modern politics, it's about how do you get that message out. And so, yes, the ANC is still committed to humble and servant leaders, but at the same time, we want as broad section of people to know why they should vote for you and support you. And so I think sometimes we actually do need to just tell our story. So I love that you were the treasurer for Primrose, and you were also working through the resident association. I love that you you admit that the ANC have made many mistakes, and I want to ask some questions around that, because you see that dent of the image of the ANC is about not the organization, it's about individuals that did wrong things and were corrupt. And here you are, clearly someone that has stayed the course, is committed to the ANC's renewal and unity project. And how do you convince your electorate that this party is still the party of the people, this party is still there for our people, and dealing with the issues? And it's very clear for me that you have a plan, and I want to expand on that a bit about your 4 areas. But what do you say to someone that the ANC is just making empty promise and they can't change and they can't renew?
Yeah, I think what's important, Comrade Faiez, is 2 things. While maybe the brand, as you quite rightly said, by a few individuals, people don't realize that the ANC's membership is the largest membership of any political party in the country. And people are still flocking to the African National Congress. So I'm going to give you a very practical and simple answer. Last October, I managed to get 40 young people under the age of 35 to join the African National Congress in our branch. 40. I mean, so you ask them, well, what did they see in us, and what do maybe the media project of the African National Congress? So one of the things that I think the youth saw, that what we do, I think it was about 2 years ago, I was invited by the CPF in Manenberg, and basically to say a few words. They had a year-end function with the top matriculants of Manenberg, Phoenix, Silverstream, and the schools there. And after the event happened, we basically sat having a bit of a bite to eat, you know, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. The 8 top students never registered at any university. So here we got talent, people with capabilities, abilities. And when I asked them the question, and they were saying to me, my ma sê wat ek gematrikuleer het, moet ek gaan werk. So jy moet gaan werk, jy kan nie gaan leef verder nie, you know. Typical thing where the parents don't get encouragement. Even I was disappointed in the educators, because they could have picked up this talent already in the month of June, July, that these are top students, and got them into university, you know. The others, I managed to get them into the film industry. Good program. I developed a very good program where I was going to go and spend more of my time, not at the end of the year when they get it as a counselor or not a counselor. Next year, I'm hoping to do it. Obviously, you know, COVID is really, you know, Congress. As when we actually do real work on the ground, those youth immediately, I never even told them to come and join. They really could think, and that's why I said earlier that I still believe the ANC is the vehicle. When people say you are revolutionary, then a revolution means you do the complete circle, but you continue again, and you got there's different strategies that we do. And I just find our movement, our organization, steep in democracy. We re-elect our officials every 5 years. We redevelop our policies every 5 years. And we even do a midterm review of our policies in case we've made a mistake, but we review it. And you know, what's most important is we always listen to our communities. And that's important. We might not sometimes things we want to do, but I don't think anyone can accuse the ANC for not listening to you. We do listen, try our level best. We might not succeed, but we try our level best. So I really believe the voters in my ward, I'm going to say to them, irrespective of what your view is of my party, the day your light is not working, or you're going to have a problem, you're not going to phone my party secretary general, and you're not going to phone the party national leadership. You're actually going to phone me. And so think about your candidate elect and not about the party. The party is important because I can talk about that, why it will be strategic. But right now for a voter, If I'm a resident, I want to know who's the person I can pick up the phone at any time to address my concern. And I think that's what we need to indicate and tell our voters. Who's the person? I'm currently living in this ward. I've never seen this ward councillor over 5 years. I don't even know how he looks, you know what I mean? And so this is the challenge that we have. Since COVID, and because I'm working from home now, I walk every afternoon after 4:30 in the ward for an hour, and I go to different areas of the ward where I live, and I sort of do two things. I can see what's happening, and secondly, I can also, get myself fit and keep myself fit and healthy. So I know the terrain basically, and I really think that's important to understand. I'm not going to make empty promises and petty politics. I'm saying I'm here for the community. I was here before I became a councillor elect. I will be here post 1 November as well, and I will continue to be of service to our people.
Thank you. Great response. It leads me to the next question that I want to ask. The president also launched the ANC's election manifesto, and he was very straight up, candid, honest with the electorate at the national level. He said, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he said, look, we have made mistakes. Yes, we are dealing with cleaning the house, but he's saying he's giving the commitment of building communities, better communities together. And he's saying that you, as a local candidate, the representatives of the ANC, one, you are ethically cleared, you are committed to serving, and he made the pledge. I mean, just reflect to your viewers, what is that pledge? What is that pledge that you're committing on behalf of the ANC? The pledge of the ANC, but also your local pledge.
Yeah, Faiez, I don't know. Now you're putting me between a candidate and my party. You know what I mean? I don't know which pledge I should be talking about. But let me start with my pledge. Okay. Look, the first thing is I launched my pledge on Tuesday night. Okay. And I'm basically say to you that the first thing I will do, and I pledge this, that I will sign a performance agreement with my residents. So that's number one. I believe the ANC has said that your ward councils must become accountable to these people. I want to go further. I'll sign the performance agreement with them. As I said to you, I broke up the ward into 4 sections. So I will have each section giving me what are the key priority items that they need to be addressed. We jointly together with them will stipulate how long we'll take to deliver or investigate or do that, and have regular feedbacks on it. So that's the first thing I want to say, that I'm pledging that I will remain accessible. Mm-hmm. As you know, I will operate from the Dalla Umar Center, but to make it easier for communities, I'm already in negotiations with people in Belgravia to find a venue where I will be every 1 day a week. I will be there, and likewise in Surrey State and Manenberg, so I can become accessible. I can't expect people who don't have maybe transport to come to me, but I need to be available to them. But obviously, I can't be there 24 hours either. So we will set up a timeline. I'll be there on that day, from that time to that time, and so forth, right? So that is what I want to do. The other thing is that I pledge to our people that I will ensure the involvement of communities and community organizations in the ward. There will be visibility, accessibility, and I want to work with all the community groups, right? And as I said earlier, I want to promote education as the apex priority in Ward 46. I want to also promote a safe environment, working closely with the neighborhood watchers, with the police forums, and I want to also promote a clean and healthy environment. I'm already working with another organization where we take the youth on a hike once a month, and we basically teach them about the environment. We teach them about the respect of the environment with climate change, how cleanliness is important, because I think we tell people why they must not litter. because that's important. And if they understand that, we also, when we go up on the mountain and we look at a particular vantage point, we show them the Atlantic seaboard area, and we show them the Cape Flats on the other side, and we show them the disconnect. You're almost a tale of two cities. It's almost one city and another city there. So we're trying to empower that. So I think, like the pledge of the president says, to be available to our people 24/7. I think that's that we must always listen and have open channels of communication. We must remain accountable. I think there's nothing wrong if you can't accomplish or achieve an issue. But you know what? If you communicate with people, people understand. People are very reasonable. People don't expect a miracle from you. I'm not going to say I'm a magician, So there might be something we embark upon, and we might fail or we might make a mistake. But, if we are honest about it, people will forgive immediately, or people will understand immediately. And I think it's that relationship of accountability, accessibility, and then irrespective of what the challenges are, and I believe that's on the economic development of our ward at the local particular level. And development, I just can't understand it. If I look particularly in, benefit our people living nearby to us, we've got an industrial area in Athlone, industrialness and our community together. So I will ensure through religious organizations, and you must be hardworking, they become employable quickly because you're selling a strong feature. Forget about the skill part. That's second people from our local area. Why? Yes. Why do we do that? You cut down the cost to get home at 7 o'clock. They're going to prepare a meal for their families. By the time they've done the meal and the washing up of the plates, these poor people, it's not about just a job, but how does it impact a working mother or a youth? And I think 5 years' time, we should say Ward 46 has achieved A, B, C, D, and not just...
You have a whole range. I want to ask a question on the COVID. And I know government, we were quite strong in pushing vaccination. And we're one of the few African countries that actually have our vaccinations. What is the key message you want them to know about COVID and the need for vaccination?
We set a target of fundraising that exceeded it threefold in actual fact. Currently, I think it's very, very important that we protect ourselves, but we also protect other people.
And take your time. We're enjoying this. I think a lot of people are enjoying this.
Okay, so if we got time, then let me explain to you quickly. I said to you that quiet and so forth. So I'm not going to talk much more about that. But coming to COVID and the vaccination, I know there are two schools of thought that have vaccine hesitancy. So I break it down to three categories. There's the anti-vax, anti-hesitancy, and then those people who are taking the vaccine. Encourage them. I started off, I've been monitoring the stats. I'm not the doctor, by the way, or medical oriented. That's worrisome for me already. It's a bad signal. We were right down unto 600 active cases and with 3.3, I think, last night. So that is worrisome to me. But I think at this point in time, forget about the medicine. Of us who are vaccinated, great. You are protected to a certain extent. Those that are hesitant, I'm encouraging you all, and we can get back to some form of normality. Maybe not total normality pre-COVID days, but we can certainly have a much better thing. My daughter stays in Abu Dhabi, and I spoke to her last night. They've only got 200 cases in the whole country now, and they keep on testing, and they're vaccinated, and it happens like that. So I think there are real examples where people have almost resumed normal life, maybe with a mask, but they've resumed normality. They're going to shopping malls, they're going to coffee shops, etc. But we need to encourage our youth. So the final point I want to make also is to say, I actually flighted the advert in the month of September on Voice of the Cape. encouraging people to vaccinate. And I actually managed to get celebrities like Mark Lottering and many other people to endorse this campaign. So people, I would appeal to all young people. I would appeal to all those who are hesitant. If you don't get convinced by social media or that, I tell you what you need to do. Go to your clinic, go to your doctor, and just sit and say to them, you're a bit hesitant because you've heard this bad story. Tell me, what would you advise? Because maybe then we can convince them from the medical perspective and the fraternity, like a sister or a nurse. I know of a nurse that does diabetic workshops. She managed to convince 80 people in one session to go vaccinate who were hesitant. So I'm saying we got to play a particular role. And when I say we don't have to be politicians or activists. Ordinary people can just talk to the family and say, look, go and do it, you know. And so I would say, yes, please vaccinate as soon as possible.
Great stuff. No, that sounds like a good advice. If people are vaccine hesitant, please just speak to people. I think we shall overcome. Good advice around this. My concluding question, and before I let you off the hook, Majid.
You never leave me off the hook. I'm sure you're going to tell me I'm going to pay for this interview.
No. On a serious note, look, you have a few days left, 26 or 7 days left. And, you know, voting is about numbers. And your ward is a very important ward. It's, like you said, a very complex ward with very diverse people. And so if I want to, first of all, if I'm undecided voter in your area, what do you say to me? If I am someone that likes what I'm hearing now, how do I get involved in your campaign? And maybe just lastly, just share very shortly, briefly, what are you going to do in the next few days to get people out in your area, to mobilize them, to keep you accountable and vote for you?
Yeah, Faiez, first of all, I must say I felt quite encouraged. You know, we went through a consultation process once I was nominated by my branch. I wrote letters to stakeholders in the ward. 105 of them responded to me positively that they would support me and the campaign. And so I'm indeed very humbled and encouraged. I know some people are sometimes, you know, there's this old saying, my vote is my secret, you know, so people don't want to come out publicly, you know. But I was very humbled and encouraged when people respond to me. 105. I'm talking about stakeholders coming back, we're supporting you, you know. I hope they can convince their families, their friends to go make the cross next to my name on the 1st of November. But secondly, 2 people, actually 3 people that I can remember now. One person SMS'd me and said, you know what, I wasn't going to vote this year. Okay. But when I heard you standing, I'm voting, and I'm voting for you. And that's sort of a person that's a professional. I won't reveal what position that person is, but it's not it's a very sober thinking person, individual. Then somebody from the medical fraternity. I wasn't going to vote this year, but I'm voting for you, you know. Today I had, interestingly enough, an engagement with a gentleman who said that, you know what, I wasn't going to vote because I don't think any party deserves my vote. And so I spoke to the person, and after I spoke to him, as he got into his car, he says, you know what, you've made me think now, I'm changing my mind. But I'm not sure if I'm going to vote for you yet. But I think the fact that he said I changed his mind, to me is a signal, well, is thinking now where he might have been very negative. So Faiez, I can just basically say to the voters of Ward 46, if you vote for me, I will be available and ready to serve you. And with you, not only serve you, I might have a plan, I might have some expertise, but I will work with you. You tell me, you're going to give me the guidelines, you're going to give me the parameters, I will bring in the technical support. I want to end up by saying, I'm very fortunate, and this is one of the other reasons, which I just told this person this morning, that the good thing about being part of the African National Congress and the branch, and particularly this branch, and I'm going to be maybe sounding biased, the Robert Waterwish Thornley branch, I don't have to wait to become a councillor, but I've already got a team that will look at housing. I've got a team that will look at tariffs. I have a team that will look at relief work. I have a team that will looking at the environment, and I have a team looking at crime and safety. So when you're voting Majid Mowzer and you're voting ANC, you might be voting Majid Mowzer from a track record perspective, but when you're voting ANC, I can assure you I've got 5 teams ready on the 2nd of November that will come and listen to you, take in your inputs, and they will formulate plans of how we're going to address it. We might not be the governing party in this province, but I can tell you they can prepare themselves that they're going to have a fight on their hands. And we'll take them on right through until we achieve what we need to achieve for our people. So that's the commitment I'm making. I'm telling you, I've got teams already set up, all ready to roll up their sleeves and do that. So what can voters do? I think I would urge anybody watching this video, please, I think there's a bit of voter apathy. I would like to encourage you as your democratic voice. Utilize your democratic rights. Choose the person that you believe you can trust. Choose the person that you believe that will deliver for you. And I can tell you right now, choose the party that will deliver. And that is the ANC. So with those few words, together we can fight corruption. There is corruption. We're not going to run away from that. But we will fight that corruption together with you. And we will also build better communities.
All the questions, but I can't let you off the hook on the last one about the noise pollution or nuisance, the bylaw that the city has just passed now. I need to get your view on this. You know, they have a bylaw, and I'm sure you will also communicate, which says that if a dog barks for more than 30 seconds or 60 seconds, it's considered noise pollution. And when we asked in Adhan call to pray, the church bells exempted from that noise pollution bylaws, that the city, the DA city, is silent on the matter. What is your views, and what do you want to inform the community about this?
You know what? The bylaw was established to appease a certain section of the population. And that's a minority. We are the majority. And let them implement the bylaw. They will see how we will deal with that bylaw. That's all I'm prepared to say. I don't want to get into petty fights. I want
people know what you're saying through that, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to have a petty fight because it's electioneering about the bylaw. I tell you what, tell the city to come and close the mosque for the Adhan or the church for that. They will not be worried about the bylaw any longer. They'll be worried about the people. We will mobilize our people. And if they know who can mobilize, then it's the African National Congress that can mobilize. They won't have Majid Mowzer of Highlands mobilizing. They will have the whole country mobilizing.
And everybody behind us.
Correct.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the interview. To everybody that is tuning in, please share this video. Please like it and share it to as many people as possible. Get Majid's story out. He's one of our capable candidates, many under the President's Renewal Project. He's a foot soldier of the ANC, but more importantly, he has ideas and he's committed to you. I'm very pleased and honored to be interviewing you, one of our great candidates, one of the many great candidates the ANC is projecting. I wish you all strength in your campaign, the few days that's coming. I also want to thank you for making time, and I want to encourage people really to come out in their numbers to show support and love to Majid, because Majid will in turn be there for our communities of Rylands and the greater Rylands areas. With that, I want to thank you again for being on the program. Thanks, Aisha, as usual, for presenting it. And again, as usual,